What's up, everybody? I'm Chris, and this is Ryan, and welcome to a new Fistful of Potions segment called Spoiler Alert. Today we're going to be talking about Watch Dogs, so you've been fairly warned. Spoilers all around in this video.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. It even says it up in the title, right above us.
Right.
Spoils.
I'm going to touch it.
Spoilers. No, Ryan, don't do it. You're gonna disappear up there.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Anyway, we're going to talk about Watch Dogs today, a game that we have been looking forward to for a very long time. It came out a couple weeks ago. Both myself and Ryan have had a chance to play it, beat it, do most of the activities that you can do within the game.
Except for the activities that they told us we could do, but then we later found out are DLC.
Yeah, exactly. Spider Tank's not in the final game, so hey, there's one of your first spoilers. But we wanted to start off this video by talking about the E3 2012 presentation of this game, where all of our hype came from, because this announcement of this new IP, Watch Dogs, from Ubisoft blew us away completely.
Blew us away.
Yes. It's just super impressive. They started off with like, hey, what if this world was connected and you're getting hacked and all this other crazy stuff. And then they went into this gameplay presentation where you see Aiden Pierce walking the streets, going into a club, causing massive traffic accidents and killing somebody named DeMarco. But
it's just the tone of what they set at E3, where they showed the Aiden walking around. He was less active, more passive. Mm-hmm. Like, you play a Grand Theft Auto game, and you're running around with a gun, shooting stuff, you're throwing grenades out the window of your car, you're shooting a rocket launcher everywhere. Like, that's Grand Theft Auto. We expect that from Grand Theft Auto. It's ridiculous. But with Watch Dogs, I was expecting more hacking, like more computer-centric things, more, I don't know, tech-related things. Yeah. And then the way that they showed it at E3, they showed him, like, when he walks up to get into the club, and he, like, turns his back away and presses a button on the phone and jams everyone's radio frequency, and all the phones stop working, and then he just kind of walks in.
Spoiler, you don't do that in the final game.
No, you don't. That's not part of the game.
Yeah. Well, it is, but less.
Most of that demo isn't even in the game.
Yeah, literally the only part from that E3 2012 presentation that was the same was walking into the
location.
Club.
Yeah,
was the location, the club, walking into the club. But as soon as you walk through the doors to the club, everything else is different.
Yeah.
Who you're tracking is different. What happens after that is different. There's a rooftop chase in the final game rather than a traffic pileup. But
and then also there's a club, like a dance club, inside of there, not an art gallery.
Yeah, exactly. So that, and you don't meet Jordy there either, which is another character from the game. But
right.
There's very much differences. But like, it just seems like now, going back after playing the final game and watching that E3 2012 presentation, we actually just watched it again before recording this video. I had no idea how much that presentation, like, it just feels like Ubisoft made that to impress. And then after that, they're going to be like, oh man, we're going to pull the rug out from everybody.
No, they made that. They're just like, this is a game we want to make. And then everyone's just like, yeah, make that game. And then they go back to the studio like, let's make this game.
But we don't want to be...
We can't, though.
Yeah. Right at the start of that video, when it goes, over Aiden's shoulder where the camera usually goes, it goes into there, and then he's walking the streets, and there's wind blowing. There's, like, little cafe umbrella things that's being blown. Cans blowing in the street. Leaves blowing in the street. None of that is in the final game at all. Like, there's weather effects and stuff, but it doesn't affect him. It doesn't affect the environment around him, at least as far as I've noticed.
No, and you don't notice that because you're not spending any time walking down the streets of Chicago ever.
Yeah. Like it's from. We'll get into this with the gameplay segment that we're gonna have in this, but it's literally go here, do this, go here, do this, go here. It's basically breadcrumbs the entire game, and you're just going to and from, doing shootouts, watching cutscenes. But the tone and the feel from that presentation are just missing from this game, from the final product.
It's really frustrating too, because I was really hoping for something different. I wanted Watch Dogs to just be a new experience. The new experience that I saw at E3 2012, I wanted the final game to reflect that, and reflect that as like how I was playing the game, how it was presenting the missions, and that's not what we got.
Not at all. So. I don't know. What happened, Ubisoft? What happened to your vision of Watch Dogs? That was such an impressive, like...
Players interact with each other.
What?
I think Ubisoft happened.
Oh, no. I guess this is the lesson you take from E3 2012, and even 2013, with another game that we're super hyped about, The Division. Take it with a grain of salt.
Huge.
All right, let's move into the story. So, oh man, another problem we have with this game is the story. The entire time going through this story, it seems like it's building up to this huge mystery about who is the person who actually put the hit out on Aiden Pierce from the beginning of the game that killed his niece.
That's the setup. The setup is just like, you are on a vengeance mission to figure out who put this hit, who killed your niece, and you will redeem that.
But you never do.
Don't.
So early on in the game, you have your friend Jordy who's helping you capture some guy. His name is Maurice. You find out he's the one that actually executed the hit on you. But you capture him. He's not giving you nothing throughout the entire game. The
weirdest character in the entire game, by the way. We'll get into that later. But just like the most, I guess, useless character.
Jordy?
No, not Jordy.
Oh, Maurice. Okay, yeah. yes, definitely Maurice. Yes. You hear about him. He comes up time and time again in the story with Jordy calling you to let you know how Maurice is doing because you're holding him hostage for information.
But he's the most integral person. He's the guy you're looking for. He's the guy you need to kill for vengeance.
And you do nothing.
It's just like, oh, I'm going to go do all these other crazy Grand Theft Auto things.
He gives you nothing. You basically solve the mystery yourself without Maurice, who is the person you capture to give you information. But he gives you no information about anything.
So as the story kind of unfolds and you pass through all of these different characters, and I just didn't get where we were headed. Like it wasn't doing one of these things and then boom, this thing happened. It was
the story
just
literally
like,
picked up and just went like this. Oh, and then when you get to the stunning revelation that this old guy in the city, this mob boss named Quinn, is the person who put the hit out on you, and the reason he did it was a mistake because you supposedly found a video that he was trying to hide of the mayor killing somebody.
Which you didn't.
Which you didn't. You just thought you did.
Right.
There's this little hiccup of, oh man, this revelation. But it still falls flat after that.
Way flat.
Way flat. So this whole entire time, Aiden Pierce is going through all these things to try to find out who did what.
Let's also
kill God knows how many people.
Let's talk about that. Because you are trying to avenge the death of this 6-year-old girl or whatever. And in order to do that, you need to find the guy that did it and kill him to cleanse your mental well-being or whatever. I don't know.
But
whatever
apparently
his
you have
motivation.
to kill 650 other people along the way.
So you get that guy that you need to kill, and instead of killing that guy, you go do crazy-ass missions for the next 8 to 9 hours where you kill hundreds, if not thousands, of innocent bystanders who probably have families. Maybe that one guy, Rossi Fremont, was just like, yo, man, I don't want to do this. He's like, no, it pays good. Let's go do it, man. We'll be bodyguards at Rossi Fremont. Yeah, man, you want to put your kid through college? You need to make some money? You got to go be a bodyguard in Northern. Come down. Iraq's hiring. Let's go. You go down there, and then Aiden comes in, doesn't even know it, from the back of the head with a sniper. Boom, dead.
Done. Gone.
Kid's not going to college.
Nope.
Doesn't have a father anymore.
Any of the people that are there just, doing their bodyguard thing.
That's an entirely new Ubisoft game. Do you realize that?
They should set another game in this universe where you play as a detective trying to track down Aiden Pierce.
Who killed the father.
Who is now charged with 700,000 counts of murder.
It's so ridiculously stupid.
Because all the mission structures in this game are drive to this point, get out, kill people, hack something, drive to this point, get out, kill people, hack something.
What's funny too is it starts and it's like, oh no, you can just kind of decide when you want to kill people. If you want to just be stealthy about it.
There may be points in the game where you can decide where you want to be stealthy, but the easiest way is to shoot them in the head.
And towards the end of the game, you don't get to choose.
No, you don't.
There are missions where it's just like, oh, I'm going to sneak in, and then the alarm goes off, and you're like, what the hell is going on? Something explodes, and you're like, oh, what's going on? And then just waves of military-type guys come out with this automatic rifles just blasting. You're like, okay, well, I guess I can't sneak anymore. So, and it was a cutscene. It was a scripted cutscene.
Maybe that's the story then. The story isn't who put out the hit that killed my niece. Maybe the story is I'm going to just get vengeance by killing everybody while trying to find out who killed my niece because I'm in such a bad mood.
Also, I like how it ended with Aiden basically trying to be Batman meets Punisher.
Essentially, yeah. Like, so at the end of the game, after everything has gone down, there's another gentleman in the story named Damian Brinks who was your partner at one point in time, and there was a job that went south, and a hit was actually put out on Aiden and him. Yeah. They both survived, but he comes back up in the story trying to get access to CTOS, and he eventually does get access to CTOS, and you take him down. And at the end of the story, after this whole huge thing has happened where CTOS has been brought down to its knees, somehow the city brings it back up and they're just like, oh, we got CTS 2.0. And Aiden Pearce is still in Chicago going, I will be there. I will be watching. I will be the judge, the jury, and the executioner, essentially, is what he says at the end of this game. And it's just like, you're Batman.
I just want to see him perched up on like a building, leaning over with his jacket flowing,
with his sweater coat.
I am the knight.
I am the hacker.
But he breaks Batman's one rule, which is he kills people.
He kills everybody,
which is the Punisher's rule.
That's the story.
He's the Bat Punisher.
He's the Punisher man.
He's the Punisher man.
He's the Punisher man. He's the skull and the crossbones. Story completely mediocre in this game. If you're going into it for an impressive story,
it never goes up here.
It doesn't.
This is it stops here. It goes. Whoop,
this is okay. So here's our like, just to kind of run off on this final last tangent for our story kind of peak. Go play, if you have a PlayStation 3, play Uncharted 2. That game perfectly builds up the action, peaks, and then brings you back down. Perfectly.
Yeah.
It's perfectly paced, everything, story-wise. Go play that and then play this game and you'll be like, oh, this...
Whoa.
Oh, I found out who did it. There's like a little cough in the story. Just... yeah.
Okay, yeah, story...
No.
It's...
Moving on. Let's move. All right, next up we're going to be talking about the characters. First and foremost, the main character, Aiden Pearce. Your hacker buddy that you play as in the game.
I'm Aiden Pearce. I'm a Batman. And I'm the knight.
So, of course, this...
Why is nobody making memes for that?
I have no idea.
The first time they heard Christian Bale, they were just like,
oh, man. What's wrong with my voice? I threw out my voice trying to make a bad voice.
Aiden Pearce continues the proud tradition in video games of having a white male protagonist
who sounds like this. And because he's... super gruff.
He doesn't even look like he has that voice, though. Like,
he doesn't. It honestly sounds like he has a cold. Like I'm getting over right now. My voice is slightly deeper than it usually is because I am congested. Aiden Pearce just... Aiden Pearce is suffering from congestion and throat pain the entire game.
Cut out the parts where he was sniffling and rubbing his ass.
I gotta go to Rossi Fremont because I gotta... oh, excuse me. Sorry. First thing, let me try that bathroom. Let me try that. God, you gotta get some Sudafed from the store over here.
But you find pills. They increase your focus through the game.
So Sudafed.
The Sudafed. No, but Aiden Pearce is the most blandest character in this entire game. It's like he doesn't care about anything. You talked about earlier about the one major problem in all the cutscenes with Aiden is his eyes.
Yes.
He doesn't emote.
He's got dead eyes. Like, they didn't animate his eyes at all. His eyes are just like, I've got to go over here and do this.
Which is strange because most of the other characters actually have emotions. Which is strange because most of the other characters have emotions. Especially like his sister. The scenes with his sister where she's getting all emotional and she's like crying. She looks good. But Aiden's just sitting there staring at her. I got a cold. I don't care right now.
That's what it is. If you do that when you have the cold, you just don't care. You're just like, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe I feel this way.
I just don't feel good right now. Nikki, I'm sorry that your daughter died and that it was my fault. But I just can't tell you that I'm the vigilante.
I just need to go lay down for a
minute. I need to go lay down. I need some rest. Yeah. I don't know. Aiden Pearce, most boring main character in the world.
What's funny, too, is that, like, you mentioned he's like a flat character or like a generic character or whatever.
He doesn't have anything to him besides hacking.
Which
he's not even the best at.
The first Cole McGrath and the first Infamous, everyone said the same thing about him. But I felt like it made sense for the character.
He was a superhero. It was a comic book thing, so it made sense.
Yeah,
in that sense.
This you could say he's kind of a superhero in this.
He just has a cold.
He's a He's the Punisher.
He's the Punisher with the cold, with a sniffy nose, but they cut it all out.
Okay, anyways, outside of Aiden.
Other characters, Damian Brinks, your old partner that has come back and is now kind of the villain throughout the entire game. Well, not the only villain, but one of
the coffee shop hipster.
The one with some sort of beanie that keeps going down behind his head, because I have a feeling that he's got like massive hair back there. Just like I need to put it all.
No, it's just falling off, and he doesn't want to reach back there and grab it because he doesn't want to look uncool.
Oh no!
It's just like he keeps the hat
entire
keeps falling
game
off, and he's
the entire
just like,
the entire game his hat's
not gonna
just
touch
falling
it.
off back here.
Not gonna touch it. No.
He as like a anti-hero, I would say, because he's just like a guy trying to figure stuff out. I don't know.
He's just a hipster guy who got the checklist of how to be an anti-hero off the internet.
Essentially,
and checked every box basically perfectly of predictability throughout the entire game.
Yeah, Clara, one of your early partners, there's a twist to her. You find out that she actually reported on you. She's the one that gave the information to Quinn to put the hit out on you.
No, it's just, I actually liked Clara. I thought that she was one of my favorite characters.
Clara was a good character. I liked her as a character. She didn't really have much to do, but the stuff that she did.
I don't like her personality with like the whole.
It's because she's French, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
she's French.
That, and then she has the balls to wear a DedSec t-shirt out in public.
Right.
When she's one of the top members of DedSec.
That makes no sense.
Whoa, get out.
Badass over
here.
We
got a badass over here.
No, I liked her because while she portrayed herself as a badass, she really wasn't to the level that Aiden was. Like, they're both hackers.
Aiden is just a sociopath who goes hacking stuff and will kill anything that moves. It's because he's got a cold. He's so mad.
They're both hackers, but as soon as Aiden starts killing people, Clara's just like, "Oh,
you're what?
You just killed that guy."
Yeah, there's one mission that you I forget what it is. You have to go. Oh, you're trying to break into a party, but you need to steal someone's identity.
Yes.
And Clara hacks in, finds somebody that will fit perfectly because he hasn't been back in the country for 12 years. But guess what? He's back, and you got to go kill him so he doesn't show up.
Like jumps straight to that. Like, okay, well, I got to take him out.
I got to just go kill him.
Wait, you can't just. It's like you got to tie up your loose ends, Claire. Don't you understand?
You can't just throw him in a trunk for a couple days, like in some sort of car. I mean, we have this secret bunker. You can bring him here with a blindfold and put him in one of these shipping containers for a few days.
No, I've got to kill him.
No, murder is the only answer because I've got a cold.
But unfortunately, Clara dies.
Clara dies, yes.
And I'm so pissed off about that.
And the most anticlimactic death ever because, hey, man, you're hiding behind a gravestone. Maybe you should not poke your head out and look to see if the gunmen are still there.
And then she's the one putting the flowers on the gravestone from the beginning of the game. Where it's just like, who is putting these flowers? Like,
I don't know, but I'm going to find him.
I'm going to find out. I'm going to kill him. Oh, wait.
Whoops.
Whoops. Yeah, I don't know. I like Clara as a character. It's unfortunate that she died. That was actually one of the moments where I was just like, oh man, like that was even a bigger.
That was one of the moments.
That was
the whole game for
me. That was like the bigger revelation in the game that she died, rather than you finding out who put the hit out on you.
Every time I started a mission, it was like, oh man.
Jordy is another character I liked. He's the dude in business suit, Asian gentleman.
I didn't like him.
You didn't like Jordy?
No.
I like the fact that he's just so over the top and crazy.
I like his personality. Like I like the fact, like the way that the voice actor portrayed him. Mm-hmm. It was cool.
That's kind of like where I love the character from. It's just the performance.
But the
of his character
itself, I just made no sense at all. Like you get the illusion from the beginning of the game that they're buddies.
Yeah,
they've been friends for a while,
but so they're really not buddies because Aiden's paying him to do stuff for him.
But there's that, like he's paying him, but you still get like this affinity with them. Like if something goes down, you can always rely on Jordy. You know, he's like the sidekick basically.
Yeah.
Then ultimately the sidekick
betrays you,
and which by the way I thought was like, oh, this is great because Damien got to him. And now they're going to turn on him. Nope. He's just...
Quick action cutscene.
Just like, nope, I got to take you both out. I'm just
quick time event.
I've just been paid by somebody else. So.
And then Jordy survives anyway, and you're buddy again after the betrayal.
What?
Which I don't get with the characters. But the actor who performed him and his performance within the game is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
There's one mission where you take on where you're going to bust into this place called Rossi Fremont. And it's it's one guy, his name is Iraq, and his gang has control over the entire complex.
Which makes for some of the most ridiculous lines in the game.
Yes.
Every time they say Iraq, and they say certain things like, you know,
Iraq's gonna find you. A country is gonna find me.
so ominous.
But there's a scene, or there's a scene where you're driving, you're on the phone with Jordy. He's just like, I gotta go to Rossi Fremont because there's cold medicine for me there. And Jordy's just like, that plan's insane. I love it. I love it. Let's do it. And I'm just like, yes, this character's so awesome just because he's like crazy off the walls and weird.
Yeah.
And that's why I liked him so much.
He's like if the Joker was a good guy.
Essentially, yeah. Essentially, yes. Not as crazy, but still.
If the Joker was Batman's sidekick, that's what this would be.
T-Bone in the game is another hacker that you find. He's like this infamous hacker.
Not at all the person I was expecting.
No, not at all. Okay, so this is the thing.
He wrote CTOS. He is like the supreme hacker, and he's a redneck.
Yep, pretty much. He is completely different than what I pictured him. It also probably doesn't help that during last year's E3, we watched a few wrap-up videos from a channel on YouTube, Video Gamer TV. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yeah.
Anybody's heard of them. But they did these funny recap videos where they put voices over them. They're all these group of British guys doing funny voices. And there's this one part where T-Bone is holding up the computer where he's like, I don't know what it is, but I found this inside your computer. And I was just like, it would be so awesome if he's just this British guy, complete opposite redneck American. Y'all done gonna drink here with my whiskey games.
I just didn't. I don't know. I didn't like him as a character. I didn't think he was. He that's what he was. He was a racial stereotype.
He kind of was
completely a racial stereotype,
especially since
to the cartoon degree.
To back up Jordy's crazy character, you find T-Bone in a section of the Chicago map called Pawnee, which is like the country, like kind of old town. Rustic
Backwoods.
Country, yeah. Jordy calls you and he's just like, "Where you been?" And he's just like, "I'm in Pawnee." And Jordy's like, "Ew, my condolences." Just like, really? Yeah. T-Bone is completely not what I pictured him as. He ended up being a decent character to me, and there is story DLC with him coming out, but I honestly couldn't care less just because he's not a motivating character.
Just in recap, I don't think I liked any of the characters except for Claire.
Except for Claire, it's because she died.
Right.
And she didn't have a cold.
It's because she was French.
And it's because she was French.
Right.
Ubisoft does European characters well because they're all European.
There's that. Anyways, we talked about characters way too much. Even though there's more characters to talk about, there's not really much to talk about for those other characters.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say Iraq completely meh as a villain.
Stereotypical gangster.
Yep, and then Mr. Quinn.
Stereotypical mob boss.
Stereotypical old mob boss. Like, I can do whatever I want because I'm a mob boss. And then you end up murdering him because he's got a pacemaker and you can hack into that.
Apparently, pacemakers have Wi-Fi now.
Pacemakers have Wi-Fi in the near future. Yes.
Oh,
just like grenades.
Speaking of that segues perfectly into the next one, which we'll get to in just a second.
Yep, we'll see you in a second. All right, and now the final bit of our video, gameplay of Watch Dogs. Ryan, what'd you think?
Well, I measure all open world action games like this on the quality of the driving physics because that's what you do in most of these games.
Plus, he's more of a racing game fan than most of us are, so it makes or break games for him.
To be fair, in most games that are open world that have cars, like Grand Theft Auto, Saints Row, things like that, you drive spend most of your time driving around.
So
because
if it's not
just
fun, then it's not fun.
The mission is go drive over here, shoot for a couple seconds, and then drive back over here again. So 90% of that mission was driving. So it's a racing game at that point, not a shooting game. So if the driving mechanics are bad, then you're going to have a bad time 90% of the time in that mission. And if most missions are structured that way, then you're having a bad time 90% of the time in the game. So I'm happy to report that they're not bad, but
they're decent.
They're not great.
They're not the great, no.
They're on par with everything else about this game. They're just flat.
Every time we say something that isn't really that bad, it sounds bad just because of the way we say it.
But that's the thing is, like, it's just...
Much like a lot of the other things with Watch Dogs, the gameplay in this game is mediocre.
Like Saints Row, Sleeping Dogs, The Godfather, like, all these games have, like, really wonky, weird driving mechanics that are really hard to get used to. Like, Sleeping Dogs, I kind of pushed through because I liked the game, and I liked the story, but the driving mechanics just weren't that great. Grand Theft Auto is really the pinnacle of that because, get this, it's in the title.
Oh,
But, that's it. They initially announced that this was going to be on the driver engine, so it would be, based off of the driver.
Driver-esque. Yeah.
It's not.
It's no.
I can see where they started with that, but that's not where they landed.
Yeah, I personally didn't have a problem with the driving physics. Most of the gameplay for me that I had a problem with was more along the fact of the mission structure. Like, everything was drive over here, get out, shoot people.
Grand Theft Auto.
Drive over here, get out, shoot people. And even the side missions in the game, like where you take down crimes, you have to chase a dude down, or you have to literally run up to him as the crime is if you don't want to chase him. And then there's criminal convoys where you have to blow up a convoy and then chase down somebody if they try to escape. And then there's gang hideouts where you literally drive to a gang hideout, get out, and shoot people.
Yeah, I was hoping for more hacker-related stuff. Like, they did some stuff with like the cameras and whatnot.
And don't get us wrong, there's a lot of hacking to do in this game. It just... Like, the one that I hated the most was the one where you break into things and you have to do little... There's, like, little shapes like this or, like, T's. Like, it's playing Tetris, but with lines and stuff.
Yeah.
When you play the game, you'll know what I mean.
I mean, I don't mind those. Like, they needed some kind of minigame for hacking. So it was going to be something.
Is that how hacking works in real-life hackers?
It
Let
is.
us know, please.
It is in the Angelina Jolie movie.
There you go.
By the way, you should watch.
Hack the planet.
Hack the Planet.
They're trashing our rights.
They're trashing our games, apparently.
They're trashing our games, man.
No, I was hoping for more like hacking related things. Like sometimes you can actually complete a mission by just hopping the cameras and then hacking something, and you didn't.
Which that was actually more fun to do than going through and shooting.
Yeah, because it was more in line with what the game
sells
itself.
You had to get creative with what you did. Like there was a point in the game where I was breaking into a CTOS tower thing so I can get access to that area, CTOS in that area, and I literally just piggybacked the cameras and I hacked a couple security guards to get vantage points on other cameras.
Yeah, and sometimes you can't do just camera to camera. Sometimes you have to like move a forklift up and then now you can see the camera.
Yeah, so there's like little creative puzzles that you can solve, but like most of the ones that you do, you literally go in, take out everybody, and then just hack it up.
Those weren't the story missions though. That's the sad part. It's like you were just getting access to CTOS so that you could progress in the next story mission. Mm-hmm. So I was hoping for things in the story that like I don't know, you hack into an office building and then like you shut all the servers down and black out the entire building so that you can sneak your way through the building now because you shut down the entire building and now it's a sneaking thing instead of like there's nothing like that in the game.
There are things where you can hack into various camera points within the city and see optional things, but there's nothing in the story that requires you to hack something so you can get around. Like, I mean, you do hack stuff in order to progress in a mission, but it's not like, oh, I can hack this and do this mission a different way. And it's like every mission has some sort of set way to do it.
And hacking is so diluted and watered down that hacking in this game could be in Grand Theft Auto, oh, there's a box on the wall, that's the electrical box. Mm-hmm. I'm not a hacker, but I have a gun. Mm-hmm. Boom, I shot the electrical box, and now I hacked the electrical box.
Yeah.
So I pressed a button, the electrics are out. And I'm hacking, so I pressed a button and the electric. So it's like, those subtle things where they think like, oh, we're making it so you're hacking things. Just like, no, you're just repurposing missions from Grand Theft Auto with hacking instead of shooting.
Yeah.
And it's just not original.
Yeah, it was everything about it was mediocre. Most of the side stuff that I've done, I haven't even done the PlayStation Sony exclusive missions yet because I just don't want to. I just don't care. I beat the game. That's what I wanted to do. And everything was so mediocre about it that even with DLC coming out for this game, I just don't think I care anymore.
Also, did it also seem kind of strange or frustrating that the only way to get away from the cops was to neutralize them, it seems?
The only way, the actual thing I found about that, yes, you have to either neutralize them or get a fast enough car to outpace them. The one thing that I found very frustrating in this game, how easy it was to get away from cops, find a boat.
Oh, I didn't even try that.
Literally find a boat, drive out into the marina, bam, done.
See, Grand Theft Auto has thought of that because if you get in a boat, you get like 3 police boats on you, and they're just like...
There's no police boats in Watch Dogs.
That's actually the worst place to be in Grand Theft Auto if you have the police on you because there's nowhere for you to go. Mm-hmm. If you get 3 police boats on you and they all have a gunman and a driver, you're dead, basically.
Yeah. No,
but
in Watch Dogs, find a boat. If you have the cops on you, find somewhere that has a boat because You go out there, if later in the game you get helicopters after you, but if you've spent your upgrades, you have a way of disabling helicopters. And if they come after you more than once, if you disable them twice, helicopters go back to base because they have engine trouble.
Well, you could always just shoot out the window and shoot the helicopter down, right?
Oh, no, because there's no shooting while driving in this game. That was another thing that kind of frustrated.
Maybe they want to get into the driving and shooting game stereotype, where they're just like, it's just a driving and shooting game.
Maybe.
No, because you can't drive and shoot.
Maybe that's something, like, I've always found, like, for me, driving and shooting in GTA is one of the more frustrating aspects of it because I'm not coordinated enough with myself.
Because you're doing it wrong, Chris. You don't drive and shoot, you drive and C4.
That's true. Ryan with his thing. But, like, you don't do any of that. There's literally points in this game where I have got caught between a car and, I kid you not, a tree. Because you can't knock over trees in this game. Where I have been shot in the face with a shotgun because you can't shoot anybody.
And they can
out
shoot
of your car.
you.
They can shoot you, yeah. They are driving and shooting at you in their cars.
But you can't
shoot back. Nope.
No, because Aiden doesn't shoot. Oh.
He has a phone. He's using his phone. Is it illegal to use your phone and drive in Chicago? Brian, I want to know. Because Aiden's breaking the law. His judgment is
among
impaired.
many other things, but let's worry about him hacking stuff while he's driving.
No, he's just oh man, it was just so mediocre.
It's
everything.
I can't believe you can't shoot while you're driving. The driving mechanics were so. The shooting mechanics were all right, I guess.
The driving mechanic. The only time the driving mechanics really gave me trouble was the last mission of the game.
I just imagine if they put automatic rifles in Assassin's Creed. It would just take away from most of the game.
It would ruin everything.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed would be completely different. And in fact, I'm actually glad. We predicted before this game came out that there would be some sort of major tie to the Assassin's Creed universe. And I think anybody at Ubisoft was just, no, let's make this a separate franchise because the only reference to Abstergo in there is with profiling people. There's one that pops up that
there's
says...
that, and then at the very end...
employee.
With Maurice, when he's...
counting
the Fibiaki sequence.
Yeah, so
there's 1,
that.
2, 3, 5.
But they're just subtle, in-universe hints, which could, they could be in the same thing, because there's Bloom references in Assassin's Creed 4, so... Right. And, whatever. But I'm so glad that they did not link these universes together,
Specifically.
and I'm so glad that this did not become the modern-day Assassin's Creed game.
Your biggest complaint was on the last mission of the screen tweaking out.
So last mission, Damien Brinks has full access to CTOS. So anywhere you go in the city, he's trying to stop you because you're trying to hack in.
Blowing up stuff.
He's blowing up steam pipes. He's making lights go off so people crash into you. He even turns on the CTOS scanner so that cops start chasing you, which was one of the more frustrating parts. But the most frustrating part about this mission was that your HUD is flickering about. But not only the HUD that's flickering, your entire game screen is flickering on and off.
Yeah.
Like tweaking out like a computer would be hacked into.
And then I freaked out because I'm just like, oh man, I'm in the Animus right now.
Nope.
That's why this is happening.
You are in a very, very crappily, poorly designed mission. Because who decided that at Ubisoft want to smack you? Because... that's fine if my HUD flickers. I don't care. But when I'm driving down the street and I crash into somebody because I can't see where I'm going because my screen blanks out for 2 seconds, really? Come on.
Only if I'm in the Animus.
Only if I'm in the Animus. Now, if you were in the Animus, it would just turn white fog and then stuff would just disappear.
And then Aiden would be running in the white.
Mm-hmm. Just like, you're outside the Animus.
He's just running while it's loading.
Yep.
Anyways, in conclusion, Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs, while majorly hyped, vastly disappointing.
I think the best way that we can conclude this is just to kind of show you our reaction to Watch Dogs. And that'll be the best way to do it.
Yeah.
So without further ado, this is our experience with Watch Dogs.
Yeah, that was...